To react more is America First Action Senior Advisor Sean Spicer, author of the brand new book, Still Winning, from one of our favorites, Fox News contributor Charlie Hurt, and former Obama economic advisor Austin Goolsbee. Gentlemen, thank you all for being here. Austin, I want to start with you. Look, Joe Biden was elected in 1972. I was like 5 years old. He's been around the block, okay? He's been through this, but he seems to be bumbling his way through his announcement. What's going on with Joe?
Look, you know that Joe Biden he is well liked by the American people, has very high popularity, higher than the president's, higher than most of the other Democratic nominees. He also says dumb stuff. There are two different questions. One is Joe Biden's tendency to say things that are dumb going to prevent him from getting the Democratic nomination? They might. He needs to have more discipline or he's not going to get the nomination. The second question that Rush Limbaugh is kind of hinting at, that in some way Joe Biden is morally unfit for office, that, I think, when you stack him up against the president, who's got paying off porn stars, multiple wives, accused of obstruction of justice, accused of shady deals all around the world, I don't think that there's going to be, if he is the nominee, I don't think he's going to have a problem on that front.
Yeah, a lot of those accusations which proved out to be false after a special prosecutor. But Sean, you've also been around the block. You've been on the receiving end of a lot of reporters and questions and whatnot. How is Uncle Joe doing out on the campaign trail?
Well, look, I think there's a false narrative out there that Joe Biden is some sort of political success. And Austin mentioned that he said dumb things, but he's been saying dumb things since he was first elected in the early 1970s. Remember, he has run for president twice and epically failed. Biden right now benefits from 8 years being associated for 8 years as vice president to, frankly, a popular president within the Democratic Party. So he leads because he has name ID and association with President Obama. But he is a flip-flopping gaffe machine for 30-plus years. And it's not, I think right now, once the other candidates have an opportunity to go after him on that debate stage coming up and over again, and he continues to talk and the other scandals come out and he's left on his own and he doesn't have Obama to carry the ticket, he's going to fail epically, as he has twice before. But this narrative that somehow he is leading in the polls because he's running a successful campaign or he's been a successful presidential candidate is just not proven true through his past efforts.
Now, Charlie, are Democrats going to go easy on him in the campaign, in the debates and whatnot coming up? Or do you agree with Rush Limbaugh that, hey, this thing is already done, it's over?
Oh, I think we've already gotten kind of a taste of it with the attacks that we've seen by Cory Booker and Kamala Harris on Joe Biden for his playing footsie with Democratic segregationist senators and talking about how those were the good old days when they could work together and get things done. You know, it's amazing to watch the way the Democrats are going after Biden. And what we're also seeing with these news stories where people are going after his son for his obviously very strange and shady dealings with the Chinese and with Ukraine. What we're seeing is a media that is suddenly being a whole lot harsher of a Democrat than we're used to seeing with the media and Democrats. And I think what we've got now is you've got Democrats in the media who clearly think that Biden is wounded and can't close the deal. Meanwhile, you have Democrats in Congress who are obviously worried about this, and they want to try to keep him afloat, keep him alive, because they still think that Biden is their best hope for beating Trump.
Austin.
Jason, can I say one quick thing?
Go ahead, Sean.
I think that Charlie touched on something that's important. I think by and large, Biden has prided himself on being sort of a pragmatist Democrat, right? He has not ever been considered a part of the far left. And right now, people feel that he is not authentically far progressive socialist left. And for a lot of the folks in the media that are enamored with a lot of these folks, whether it's Kamala Harris or Pete Buttigieg, who are truly crazy left-wing, socialist embracing type Democrats, I think they realize that Biden's not their guy this time. And so there's actually a motive for them to finally attack him and pay attention.
I want to give Austin a chance to react to that, because Sean brings up a good point. He is more centrist than some of the radical liberal socialist leftists that I see out there, and Bernie Sanders and whatnot. How does he negotiate his way through that, Austin?
He's going to have to find his way in the party. I completely disagree that other than Bernie Sanders, who is professed by his own admission a socialist, it's an inaccurate description to describe the other candidates that way.
Elizabeth Warren?
Sean
You think Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden have the same policy positions?
The key issue I think Sean raised and Charlie raised, which is Joe Biden's, he can't just ride on coattails and say, hey, I was a vice president for Barack Obama. He's got to come forward with convincing people that he's going to make a good president and the election's going to be about the future. He had a tough week. That doesn't mean he's going to lose. Donald Trump had some tough weeks and took some blows from his rivals and still won the presidency. So we're going to have to see what the vice president does.
But the fundamental difference, and Charlie, I've got just the 30 seconds here. The fundamental difference is Donald Trump was winning and running as an outsider. And there is no more of an insider than Joe Biden, right?
Exactly. And of course, the things that Donald Trump said that shocked everybody inside the Beltway, those were things that everybody outside of the Beltway, they thought that stuff made sense. When Joe Biden says something that doesn't make sense inside the Beltway, it doesn't make sense to anybody else either. It just comes off as goofball and is usually some sort of a gaffe.
Yeah, well, that's hard to argue. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We really do appreciate all three of you joining us.